I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
All board members are present this evening.
All right, we've got a little, I'm gonna call it an intervention here. We have a representative from Mr. Maddox's office. This is Joe Foley, and he's got something that he'd like to do for us tonight.
I'm sure this is kind of an unorthodox way to begin one of these meetings, and I know these township board meetings work like clockwork, so I'll be brief. My name is Joe Foley. I'm the legislative aide for State Representative Matt Maddox, and I'm here today to recognize Brian Howe for the excellent work he's done for his community. Now, firstly, I wanted to say we've actually had this tribute done for a couple of months now, but we've had conflicting schedules with your township board meetings, and we, as Tammy can attest, she's probably gotten sick of me calling her office so many times. But we wanted to do this tribute presentation here at a township board meeting because everyone in this room can, understand the importance of serving people of their community. And whether that be at the municipal level or the state level, everyone in here is working at the best of their ability to serve the people that they represent in their community. And Brian is an individual that really exemplifies and demonstrates this quality in an individual. Brian has proven himself a high caliber citizen of not only Highland, but not only Oakland County, but the entire state of Michigan. The entire state of Michigan should be proud to have individuals like Brian. So Brian is a teacher at White Lake Lakeland High School. He teaches both government and history. I think, again, everyone in this room can appreciate the importance of those subjects. And he works through his inspiration. He's teaching our youth to become leaders, and to make their own way to have bright futures. Obviously, as a member of the Board of Trustees here at Highland Township, he knows personally the hard work that it takes to work to better your community. And, one project that Brian worked on last year that really proved his commitment to this community was a project he worked on for veterans. He helped to promote Reads across America, where under his leadership, his students worked and placed wreaths on the graves of honored veterans in the community. And when our office heard about this and the work that Brian did to complete this, we were just really proud to have someone like him in our community, and we knew that he truly deserved to be recognized. And with that being said, I am honored to present this tribute to Brian Howe on behalf of the state of Michigan. Brian, thank you very much. Thank you. We try to be discreet. We don't want you to know.
Can you guys hang it just for 1 second?
Thank you. Thank you again. Of course. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thanks.
Good stuff.
I'm working on Joe's too.
All right, thank you very much, Joe, and please pass that along to Representative Maddox. We appreciate it. And tell him we need to get him in here also.
Okay,
So.
will do. I'll relay the message.
All right, thank you. Next item is approval of the agenda.
I would move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, consent agenda approval. Motion to approve.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
I have a question on the list of bills. I don't know if you want to just answer it or take it off. Can you do it separate?
I'll answer the question.
Had on there a lawnmower asset trade. What was that about?
What we did is we took the lawnmowers that we are sitting in the building unused, and we traded them to Freedom Work. in exchange for the lawn mowing.
Does that comply with our
Yes, we
disposal
put it out
policy?
we put them out for bids, and they came in with the lowest bid.
It would be nice if the board would know when we were doing bid on stuff, then I wouldn't have to ask stupid questions.
We did that a long time ago. Long time ago. It was actually at the board level, and the whole thing was up front.
And we're only doing this now because,
We needed to register the asset as a trade. Okay, so moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mrs. Chenoweth?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
no,
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, announcements and information inquiry. Summer concert started last night. I don't know how many people were able to make it, but had the biggest turnout that we've ever had, in excess of probably 300 plus people. So it's getting more popular. There are people there from Commerce, Milford, so things are getting around. Word's getting around.
Can I say something about that real quick?
Sure.
I just want to congratulate Missy. She's done a great job with the DDA, and she does a great job in booking the different acts. And last night was Itchycoo Park, which is Bob Lewis, who's a local back in his 5-star days, actually way back high school in Milford. But they do a great job. I think that's part of the reason we had a big crowd. I think people are coming out, and hopefully we'll keep it going because that was really neat. I even heard the sound guy say, "You got people all the way in the back." So we're really impressed. So it was good. So. And the lead singer rode the motorcycle out for the first song, which was cool. More than people out.
It turned out very, very nice.
Yeah.
All right, the Highland Farmers Market's continuing every Saturday until October 26th. It's from 9 a.m. to noon. It's at Livingston Road and Milford Road. And the next item we have is, Chief, we're going to turn it over to you, the swearing in of 2 new officers.
Last month I brought you the 2 candidates for chosen for the training officer positions. Their attendance tonight will be sworn in as official members of the department. Fix George comes to us with 15 years in the fire service. With him tonight is his wife Samantha. Son Connor, 12. And daughter Ellie, 2. That's more than she did for me. Also with us tonight are Dave Perponic. Dave comes to us with 14 years of experience in the fire service. Again, with him tonight is his wife Summer. Raise your hand, please. Daughter Jay, 9 years old. And sons, the poor girl, Dallas 11, Brody and Brayden 6. Which one's Brody, which one's Brayden? Alright, I'll remember that. Alright, if we get you guys to come up here to the front of the office, we're going to have the clerk swear you in.
You guys want to stand kind of facing the crowd over there, sort of facing both of us at the same time. That'll be good. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States. Speak up, please.
and the Constitution of this state,
And the Constitution of the state.
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
I will faithfully perform the duties
of,
of
state your position,
fire captain
in and for the Township of Highland,
and for the Township of Highland,
County of Oakland, and State of Michigan,
County of Oakland, State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
All right, very good. Thank you.
With this, I mean, they're going to bring a lot to our department. They've got years of experience both with pay-on-call and combination departments, experience with different tactics, different techniques. We're excited to see some of the improvements we can make or changes we can make to our department. We're doing a great job. We're just hoping to compliment them. So, welcome aboard. We'll get you guys out of here.
I have a question on it. Aren't they supposed to do 6 months of probation before they're sworn in as firefighters? Does that account for these things?
I'm sorry?
I was asking the supervisor if these gentlemen aren't supposed to do 6 months probation before they're sworn in.
That is for, as we transition our paid-on-call firefighters into firefighters. We've never had a swearing process for any of our fire department personnel until 2 years ago, approximately 2 years ago.
But fire department rules say they have to serve probationary period before they're sworn.
And they're still on probation. They're just being sworn in to uphold and follow the OCMCA guidelines, state of Michigan guidelines, and the federal guidelines for EMS and fire protection.
Okay.
All of our employees are at-will employees, so it's not like the probationary process is anything other than signification. They will be doing a competency test, just like any of our firefighters do at the end of 60 days, which is a little accelerated from normal. But as far as probationary period, they will serve a probationary period. But the swearing in has nothing to do with probation.
No, okay.
All right.
Me? I have one other announcement. We were contacted by a young man who is interested in doing an Eagle Scout project at the West Highland Cemetery, and he's going to be photographing and documenting GPS coordinates for each grave there in West Highland. And he has an event on July 20th, and he's looking for volunteers to come help him do this. This is a tremendous benefit to the community because all these recordings that he will do be available on the website or on a website. And a lot of jurisdictions have gone to the expense to pay a company to do this, and I checked out the cost. It would be in excess of $10,000 for us to contract a company to do the GPS mapping. And so I'm really excited to see this happen. And I have flyers here, and this is posted on our Facebook page today too. So he's just looking for some help, and I think it would be great to help him out.
Tammy, I wonder if there was some way we could get that information to the high schools, all those kids, it's hard over the summer though, that need community service work, like National Honor Society and stuff, that you might be interested in.
Well, we'll try shooting it over, see.
See if we can, yeah, I'm not sure in summertime if they could get a hold of them, but we could maybe just send it to them and see if they could.
What are they mapping, GPS?
The headstones.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So they take a photograph and they record the name and the dates on the headstone plus the GPS coordinates. It's pretty cool. It's called billiongraves.com. I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Ooh, billion. That's a scary number. All right, any other comments?
I just have a question.
Announcement?
Chief, I he left real quick, I want to say something, I don't want to interrupt, but I see Assistant Chief Cole was in the paper today, but I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but I just got skimmed it real quick. He got recognized for,
He was recognized as firefighter of the year for the state of Michigan. So there were several other
Nice.
recognitions, and I apologize for not pulling this off. We were notified 2 months ago that we've been selected throughout the whole state of Michigan as the firefighter of the year by the Michigan chapter at Outworks. But he did receive an award. It's just an article on it. I apologize for that.
No, it's okay, I was gonna try to catch him before he walked out, I didn't want to interrupt, so, okay. Very good.
Okay, next item is public comment. Yes, sir.
I saw him somewhere.
Dennis Raymond, 6039 Fish Lake Road. I'm going to defer my comments until the next month because there's obviously not enough people here to make my point. And it also would be appropriate this time to rain on Mr. Howell's parade, so I'm just going to defer my comments until next month. Thank you.
All right, anybody else, public comment? James?
James Brennan, 2466 Amelia. The other day I went over to Red Lake Pines Park and was
the area a little bit, heard there were tennis courts there. I went to check them out and I was appalled. They are dangerous. Anybody tried to play tennis on them, they could hurt themselves. There are cracks in the pavement that are big enough to get a foot caught in them and cause somebody to trip and fall. On top of that, where there used to be a volleyball court is now a nice grassy field, I hear. So, unfortunately, we have two assets to the community that could be used by residents. In fact, I go to Lakeland to play tennis with some guys that live in Highland because those courts are nicer than the ones in Dublin Mines Park. So is there any way we can get the township to come together and fix that up while we build this new area for people to play at?
Sure.
Thank you.
Would you be interested in fundraising to help pay for it?
We can try.
All right, that's one of the things we need to do, so. All right, next item, then. Any other public comments? Pending business, discussion regarding transportation program, WODA, West Oakland Transportation Authority. A couple of weeks ago, I gave a short report at the last meeting where we're at with the communities that are attempting to work together. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting at Commerce Township where People's Express gave a presentation to Commerce and Wolverine Lake. And Dave Scott, supervisor, had invited Waterford and White Lake and Highland to also be present to listen to the presentation. And the presentation, it was worth going to it. I'm glad we did because we found out that what they charge, how it works, so on and so forth, and the numbers, the way it worked out, were far from being cheaper than what we're doing right now at this current level. What People's Express is doing, so you understand what is happening in Milford, is they're charging the township $30 for each stop. And then the rider pays $2 to $4, depending on it. And then they expanded their area to include all of Highland, all the way out to 23.
23 to M5, M59 to 96, plus Providence.
But the thing that was very interesting about it is that Waterford and Commerce were both curious because they were looking for ways to be able to see what are the comparatives in terms of cost. And the interesting part is that every stop that you make, in other words, if you went to the dentist and then you went from the dentist to another stop and then to another stop, the township's on the hook for $30 each time. And so what basically happens is if you have a high number of riders, which equate to stops, then your dollars and cents go up pretty high. So in that meeting, what transpired was that People's Express said that the village and township of Milford, with the number of riders they currently have, which is about 600 number of stops, so that's in a year, there's not a lot of cost involved there. But as soon as they start getting into the real numbers, i.e. when August 1st, when we cut off the riders from Milford, they'll now have all of those riders, which are over 4,800 stops. Now you do the math on 4,800 stops times $30, and you now have put yourself into a much higher category. So what has transpired is we're hoping to have a resolution for all of the interested parties to take to their boards in August. Gary, you'll get a copy of that as soon as we get it written. And to try and move this thing forward. And in the event that any one of the entities choose not to carry forward, at least White Lake, Highland, and Walled Lake will be moving forward with the program. Of course, on approval of the board and that. But, so that's the intent, and so we'll have some more information that'll be in the form of a resolution, so that the board will have those in advance of the next meeting, so the board can see what we're talking about and any agreements that would be and what's in the agreement. So that's pretty much all I had to say on it. But it was well worth talking to the people from People's Express. They were not high and mighty or anything. They did a great job, and but they did say that what will happen when Milford reaches that point, they'll probably have to redo their contract to find a different funding mechanism or formula, because it'll get really expensive. So, and they also, most of their vehicles are vans, minivans. They have some cars, and they have a couple of buses. They do transport for Livingston County's LETS program. They'll take people to and from different stops. They are also working with Ann Arbor to do the same type of thing, bring people into the Ann Arbor transit system so that they can be able to pick them up and move them around. So that they've taken on the city of Wixom, and the city of Wixom's is even much more restrictive. They have like a 5-mile radius. And when you go outside of each 5 miles, they start adding a cost per mile on top of a base amount, and they're for the riders. But where the cost really adds up is to the community. It goes, from 23 to 27 to 35 to, per stop. So, but they only work out of their senior center, and they really seem to not be interested in doing much more than that with it at this point in time. So, any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that was correct. You said that as of August 1, when Highland stopped servicing Milford.
Yes.
Are you referencing the current draft of the intergovernmental agreement, where once that was in place, we would only service parties to the agreement?
That is referencing that intention,
So
yes.
that may not be August 1st.
It may not be, but
It would be after the intergovernmental agreement is in place that prohibits a participant from servicing non.
we actually, because we're hoping that we can make this work, and we didn't want to keep people hanging, and we also didn't want to be any more impediment to Milford's program. We sent a letter out that said as of August 1st, we're not going to be picking up the Milford riders, and that they should be calling People's Express in order to do so. So we've preempted that. And I think it's the correct direction to head, but I mean, it'll be when we move forward, we'll be meeting the guidelines that we've set up with the intergovernmental agreement. You think we should not do that?
Our program, as it exists right now, services outside of Highland boundaries and services
Milford.
the two Milfords that have been involved. Except the intergovernmental agreements under consideration would not allow Highland to serve residents in communities that weren't a party to the agreement. In terms of what we're doing right now, I honestly don't recall if the Township Board actually determined the service area. If it did, and if that's changing, I don't think the Township Board should approve that change.
All right.
I just don't have that material with me tonight to confirm that.
I'd say the boundaries of transportation haven't changed. It's just the people that we pick up. So we still will go through Milford and deliver people to and from Milford, but not Milford residents won't be calling us to ride the bus. Now, if you think that's something we should recall, we can recall it. It's just
Well, transportation program had a budget.
Yeah.
Projected revenues. I'm confident included revenues anticipated based on Milford ridership. So the action that has been taken, I would think, is going to have an impact on the program revenues. I would think that is either something that the board should ratify if it's already been done, or pull it back until the board can make a call on that.
Go ahead, Kim.
Currently, we receive in fares overall about $25,000 a year. From Milford, we receive approximately $10,000 of that. It costs us in drivers, gas, all the operating costs substantially more than that $10,000 or $11,000 to be able to pick those people up. So since we don't have a contract with Milford to pick those people up, we were just doing it on the basis that we had a grant to support it, which our grant is running out. It will preserve us longer to not be doing that. And Milfords have contracted and they have put out many verbal and written notices that this is what those people have to ride. And not us.
Those all sound like very legitimate business reasons for the decision made. To me, I mean, if providing service to those non-residents of Highland causing the program to run at loss, it makes perfect sense to me. I just didn't come prepared to
Right.
address that particular issue and whether, it should have first been approved by the Township Board, but the Township Board can always ratify decision made administratively after the fact. And I would view that as being within the scope of what's on the agenda tonight if the board wanted to do that and just let it stand as is.
I would like to do that if I want to do the right thing. I wasn't trying to do anything
Of course not.
different.
And I'm not suggesting that and bringing up the issue.
Right. No,
If anybody had any questions?
it's
That's why I
a
sit
good
here.
point. So, what's your recommendation on how to do that?
Can you describe in more detail what, you said some notice went out, what was that?
We sent
When was it?
a letter. Do you have the date of the letter?
It went out it came over here and emailed out last Wednesday, so the 3rd.
That was a letter by the Transportation Program Director,
Correct.
and it went to,
To the Milford residents, Milford taxpayer residents, because there are Milford residents that pay taxes to Highland that will still be riding because they pay taxes to Highland.
so in effect, the action would be to ratify the Transportation Program Director's notice to non-Highland taxpaying Milford residents that effective August 1, 2019, the Highland Transportation Program will no longer provide them services.
That sounds like a
motion.
motion. I'll make the motion. So moved.
What's the date?
August.
July 3rd.
Today?
No.
Is
Letter.
this the first time they're hearing about this, then this letter, or it was it talked about to them before, or anything about that? Is this gonna be a shock to them, in other words?
No, they've known that it was coming down because we've made ourselves available to be able to take them to board meetings in Milford after hours so that they could get the information.
Because that program doesn't have the same hours, they have shorter hours, don't they?
They have shorter hours and they definitely don't do after hours. But we felt because there were board meetings that, like the last board meeting brought up People's Express. So our staff felt it was proper to take our riders so that they could know what was coming up. The meeting before that, several people from American House wanted to go so that they could talk to the board and try to get a public meeting that would discuss WODA versus PECS, and they were shot down on that. And then that's when Milford set up the PECS meeting. PECS is People's Express. So they wanted to go back to that because they had gotten no representation from PECS and they had no idea about it, and they wanted to hear what was going to be made available to them, because they did know. I mean, it's been in the papers that we're in the process of forming WODA, and it's listed that Milford is not going to be a part of it because they've chosen not to participate, and that all the communities participating will have to front some money to make it work. So it's been out there for several months.
Hasn't Milford sent them letters too?
Yes. To my knowledge, they have. I haven't seen them, but I've heard them from some of the riders. They've also gone over and talked to, I know that Milford went over and talked to American House, presented to them, and PECS went in and presented to them. So, I mean, it's not a shock. It is a shock because they don't want to lose us. But we had to come up with a date so that we can make it clean and get everything prepped for moving forward and bringing other communities in. So this gives us White Lake and Highland talked today about a potential start date of October 1st. So this gives us like 2 months to kind of transition that, get things in order, hopefully get software in place, phone systems and everything.
I made the motion. Okay. All right, thank you, Kim. Moved and supported.
Do we have a copy of the notice that was sent out?
I don't have it here.
I don't have one with me. We can email it to you.
Well, my concern is that this is the same notice that they got to attend Milford's board meetings. Is that
No.
the same one?
No.
No, they get a letter that said that effective due to the fact that we are merging with other communities to develop WODA, we will be terminating their service effective August 1st. If they have prepaid tickets, they can go through the end of August to use up their tickets. Because several of them have purchased prior to, and we're not selling tickets to them anymore. And I put in the letter, your source is now People's Express, and here's their number. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact your officials.
Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
All right.
Still get an email copy of that.
What's that?
Just email a copy of that.
Yep.
So we have reference.
Okay, next item is new business, resolution number 19-22, authorization to hire a replacement for the building department administrator. What's happened here is our building department administrator is leaving August 23rd, and we didn't have enough time to interview all of the people for replacing that position or filling the position before this board meeting. And so this is a little bit different, so we're asking for a sort of a pre-approval. And what was the number we had for the hourly?
Oh, and we were gonna add to this, or put and make sure in the motion, it allows for a maximum pay rate of $18.50 per hour if it pleases the board. to allow us enough room to, when we look at a candidate, depending on their qualifications, to decide where we want to put them on the pay scale.
Who's leaving?
Carrie.
I believe we've had pretty close to 50 or more
Boatload applications.
applications and a lot of good ones. So it's not going to be a problem filling the position, I'm sure. So hopefully we'll get the right person. And so it's a little bit different. So I guess the motion would be for the board to pre-approve the hiring of a building department administrator.
Gary's.
We got a resolution, don't we? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
You can move to adopt the resolution
Okay, 19 dash.
in the third line of the resolved paragraph, after the word administrator, adding the words at a maximum pay rate of $18.50 per hour.
That's why we have the attorney here.
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, support for that?
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Are we done with discussing? I vote yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, the next item is fire department budget amendment. Motion to approve that.
I would move to approve the budget amendment for the fire fund as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported.
Can we,
Discussion.
yeah, I just, would you just kind of explain them a little bit? Bring us-
With the hired and two new people, we have to rearrange the funds from where they're allocated before. As explained in the April meeting, initially we proposed the positions. We're on pace, we're in a trend right now to come in less than we had budgeted for payroll. So we had, Amy requested to transfer the money into the other accounts to make everything solid.
Thank you.
So, and this is a net effect of 0 on the fire operating fund. We're not moving money, we're just shuffling what line money is in so that we can track it more appropriately.
Thank you.
All right, vote.
Okay. Mr. Salvia?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, next item, land purchase budget amendment. This is a budget amendment to allow for the purchase of a parcel of property on Eleanor that we purchased from tax foreclosure for $6,500. Go ahead.
I would move to approve the land purchase budget amendment as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote please.
Mrs. McDonald?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, next item. Refuse third-party expense budget amendment. In our last board meeting, we talked about how we were trying to solve a situation where the public has become fairly abusive. A portion of the public has been fairly abusive to our employees on the phone and in person over refuse that wasn't picked up in a timely manner. And so in the process of thinking how can you make this work, what came to mind was the common statement was they didn't care how little it cost. It's the principle of the thing. They paid for refuse, they expect to have it picked up. And so what happens is when they miss, because we have Friday pickup, when they miss somebody, they have to wait till Monday for us to get another truck out there, or to have GFL to pick it up on Monday. Now, as a general rule, they've done very well. Now, the number of misses, ironically, we had a few weeks ago when we had all of the refuse that got set out on Memorial Day weekend and ended up getting rained on and everything else.
All the yard waste.
All the yard waste, we had about 20, 25 people. Now keep in mind that's 20 to 25 people or stops out of 13,000 stops. But what happens is the people on Facebook don't care what anybody else says, so the common comments that come out of it are that Highland Township hired this company, Highland Township's responsible for this company. So I think that that makes very much sense. So to argue or to try and find some other avenue, the only sense it makes is they want their trash picked up. So what would happen is if they didn't pick it up on Monday, then we would call and say, or we would respond to people saying they'll be there on Monday, and they might not. Sometimes they didn't show. They got too late out of Milford where they're at on Mondays. So what it did is it made a liar out of our girls that answer the phone for it. So we'd go through this process, tell everybody it would be picked up, and then it doesn't get picked up, and that just makes people madder. So what my suggestion was to let's work with the trash company. We'll get a couple extra containers put out back, and then we'll let them do their Monday pickup. And if they don't pick up Monday, then we'll go out and we'll pick up, people that call in. We'll go pick it up, take care of it, and have it done. What ended up happening is we kind of jumped on it a little quicker than I was ready for. Karen immediately sent a couple of people out after the trash, and prior to allowing GFL to pick it up on a Monday, and so it kind of preempted it, but I cut that off. And so anyways, what happened is we looked at what we projected it might cost to be able to do that, and it turns out that there's no expenditure line in the budget for that type of a process. We have an appropriation for or a revenue line, but we have no expenditure line. So there really wasn't authority to spend the money to do that. So we need to add an expenditure line to the budget, and that's what this topic is about. Now, at the last meeting, Mary McDonald and some others had made comments about we should be able to back charge the contractor. Well, it does say that under defaults and remedies, the township shall have the right to monitor, inspect, and audit the contractor's services for compliance with the contract. If the contractor defaults in a contract compliance, the township shall provide contractor with written notice to correct the default within a specified number of days of the notice. The number of days allowed shall be reasonable and consistent with the nature and severity of the default. Upon receiving such a notice, the contractor shall correct the default within the time specified. If contractor fails to do so, the township may do one or both of the following. And the first item is correct or secure correction of the default and collect the township's actual administrative and attorney fees and costs incurred in doing so from the contractor by withholding those amounts from payments to the contractor, drawing on the performance bond, and or through any other available legal remedy. So it basically says that we can back charge them, but we need to give them notice. So I think that the best way to work with this, and this is my next step, is to work with their management and say, here's the deal. If we'll give you Mondays to pick up your trash. If you don't pick up the trash, we'll send somebody out to do so. And we'll deduct it from your the payment that we make to you. And of course, it'll be, hopefully the idea is to have a relationship that you work on a business level that says, let's work together so that the trash process becomes transparent. It's not where there's no reason for people to be ticked off if you make sure their trash is picked up. When you tell them you're going to get it, and then it doesn't get picked up, it makes people really mad.
How do we prevent people who forget to bring it out early enough in the morning?
Right.
You know, and then they put it out, you know, at noon or 1 o'clock and say they didn't pick it up.
They take pictures when they do that stuff.
So you're saying that every cent that we spend out, they're gonna return it to us then? Because they are being paid for this job. And I know that it's a hassle for Karen to get all those phone calls in, but do we let them know each time how many phone calls and how many they missed?
Always.
Okay. Because that's their job to do it, and if they're too busy or don't have time, we're still paying them. That's not our issue. I understand if people don't have it out there on time, but they need to be
Well, the
responsible or accountable.
average miss is about maybe 5 per week, and ironically, this last week, which was a holiday,
It didn't miss any.
didn't miss anybody.
Wow.
That was
That's what they
reported.
should do.
So
That's their job. And they do. I know they, most of the time they do a very good job, but they need to do it all the time.
I'm going to let you make a comment, Mr. Raymond.
Okay, I Friday pickup also, and I've only had this a couple of times, but the biggest problem that I find is that they're not on the same schedule. They'll pick it up at 7 o'clock in the morning, all the way up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of these people might be coming home and saying, oh, they didn't pick up my garbage, so they turn around and haul it back in, then they find out that, you know, they're coming by at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. If they're not in any set schedule off the beginning, you know, the time that I put it out is 8 o'clock. If he happened to drive by at, you know, 1:45, you know, they're gonna say, well, you got no garbage. So they're not on any particular schedule. They were off the beginning, but they're all over the board now. They're all over the board. I mean, it goes from, again, 7 o'clock in the morning till 3, 4 o'clock. And there have been a couple of times when it stayed out there that they did not pick it up and I had to haul it back in. And I had to wait until Monday, or in fact, I really didn't wait until Monday, I just kept it till the following Friday. But that's their problem, they don't have a set schedule, and some of these people are just thinking they're not picking it up, they're hauling it back in.
Well, we've done plenty to inform the public, you know, that you have to have it out there by 7 in the morning, and that they don't leave the community until they're rarely out of the community before 3 o'clock. A lot of times it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. So if they're going to pick it up, that would be within that time frame. So it's at the $3.17 per pickup. It's pretty cheap. And I appreciate that you take yours back. A lot of people just get really mad and make a scene out of it. But the key is that if we make sure that, you know, if yours didn't get picked up and you call and we make sure that yours gets picked up, then you're going to be happy. And that's what you need to do to help sometimes. And
Yeah, one time I do remember where I did call the office and you did come out on Monday to pick it back up, but then I had to haul it back out.
Right. So the idea is to take away the edge that gets put out there on Facebook that gets a lot of people riled up, and they think that the garbage company stinks. Probably does stink, but I mean in terms of what they do for the number of stops they make in a single day, they do a great job. I mean, they really do a great job, and the fact that everybody's got to be aware of what the labor market is right now, and the lack of availability of quality laborers for a job that not many people would want to do, hang off the back end of a smelly truck on a run all the time. So
We have an announcement, or should we make a reminder announcement? Remember, you should get your trash out by 7. It may not get picked up till 4 or 5. We need to make that.
that's
It's in our e-blast almost every time we send it out.
it's repeated and repeated and repeated, and I think the reality is 99% of the people do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they don't complain. But it's that with the social media, it becomes an issue that really isn't all the issue that is made out to be. So if we can squelch that, that's what the idea is. But the key is to actually get together with their management and help them get things if we can help them. And let them, they need to pay for it if we're gonna help them, but if you work together as a team and they can determine that we can do it and help them out on a minimal basis, if it starts being 100 people, forget it. There's gonna be a major issue.
So how often do we pay them?
Once a
Monthly? So I would propose that we say $2,000 is all and never let the fund get more than that, because to get it back on a monthly basis then and to keep it lower if we're going to do that.
Well, we shouldn't even need a budget amendment. If we're gonna get them to pay it, it comes out of the money that would have paid them instead of a separate item. I don't understand a budget amendment for something that, just take it out of that account.
This way we can track it. You know what I mean? We can track how
the
much.
vendors that you use too.
This will put it in the financials, where vendor reports are in the financials.
Well, then it's in and out, right? Because you're
Right.
not. So this is not paying somebody above and beyond what we're gonna pay for garbage.
Nope.
No, because we'll have it reimbursed.
Because they owe it to us. I mean, we have a contract
Exactly.
with them that they owe us the garbage pickup, and if they can't do it, you gotta hire someone else, they need to pay it. Period.
So anyways, that's what we like to do, so do we have a motion on that?
I don't even know if we had a
We have
motion.
process in place on the ambulance.
Yeah.
We got a process in place on that.
Yes,
We
we will.
don't have a motion.
We don't have a motion yet.
I would move to approve the budget amendment as presented.
Support?
Moved and supported, vote please.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, where are we now? Okay, the last item is regarding Lake Board appointments. Judy Cooper and I have been, how many do we have?
8, well, 9, you're on 9.
I'm on 9 lake boards, and that's above and beyond the other boards and meetings and committees I go to. Judy is resigning from her positions on those boards, and so we're going to need an additional person to be a member of the lake boards that she'll be resigning from. I'm not. I'm going to stay on board. You do not have to have elected officials. They need to be township employees or representatives. So we're going to do the 3 of us appoint, or do we want to give the board an opportunity?
So there's a couple ways we can handle this, in my mind. We could take a look at the 8 board positions and we could decide to split them up between the board members and make it so there's not so much weight on one person. Or we could try to work out a plan to send staff to these meetings as representation. I'm not sure what direction the board would want to go with that.
How often do they meet? And I was,
Once a year.
It depends on when the renewal dates are. Usually they renew their budgets for 3 to 5 years. Last year was a really heavy year. I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4,
It says annual
5
meeting
boards
or-
that renewed their special assessments. So it was a pretty heavy year, and Duck Lake had this aeration project that they're working on that took a ton of time. This year, there's nobody renewing. So it would be 1 max this year. Normally, in a year where they're renewing their budget, you'd have a presentation from their riparian, and then you'd have to have a public hearing and vote to approve the budget going forward.
what's expected, I guess, of us? What is our role on, what is the role on the board by you guys when you go?
It's-
Are you a voting member? Are you
You're
a?
a voting member.
It's extremely simple. What the member's responsibility is to make sure that the plan that the association or whoever's lake group it is has developed is financially feasible. You know, you can look at their budget and say, is this something you can do? And also that it's responsible to the quality of the water. So it's, there's a member of the, what do you call it, Water Resource Commission is on there. And do we have a county commissioner on?
There's two people from the municipality, county commissioner, one person from the homeowners association that's representing all the homeowners, and an engineer from Water Resources. Basically, it's making sure that that lake, that the suggestions for the water quality treatments are lined up with what the state suggests. And we lean pretty heavy on Water Resources to guide us in that.
My input on this is, I would be willing to split these up. 4 of these lakes are in my subdivision, so, you know, I'd be willing to be on some of those boards, split it up that way. Other people are interested.
Joe, you
What do we need, one for each one?
well, you need, there's 8 boards,
Kellogg and Taggart are kind of tied together because they flow into each other.
so they meet at one time usually.
Okay, well,
They're usually
So
back
that
to
would
back.
be one. Then see that I can take those 2.
I'm good for
One of
one.
my subdivision too.
So in the memorandum,
And we'll still do all the
there's
languages.
1, 2, 3. So there's actually
It's got to come out of our office. So.
2 lakes form our one board, and so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 7 7 meetings that need to be handled.
Okay, well, I'll take one. What do you want to do? Get the schedule. What's the schedule?
It's kind of, the schedule's kind of guided by the citizens.
Okay.
They kind of request, it's like, hey, we need to have a meeting to make sure we're lining up with whatever we need to do, or.
So do they email and say, we need to set up a meeting, are you available these dates?
We have a schedule because their meetings have to be done to line up with the special assessments that go on the tax bills. So that's the big driver. So years that their special assessments expire, you have to make sure that you have your meetings and spread them out far enough in advance so that we can make sure and get it on the tax bill.
Yeah, it's not, this is just like
And again,
once
there
in a
isn't
great
any
while.
this year that expire. Next year, there's 2, Kellogg and Taggart.
Alright. So I'll just say it again, I will volunteer. What do we need to do? You need to appoint me or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yep.
that board will meet and appoint you.
Alright.
And we'll contact you and get you the information you need, and they're here at the
Yeah, they're right here at the
in the
township.
auditorium. And Mary Pat, you said you would,
So which 2, Kellogg and Taggart?
Kellogg and Taggart flow into each other,
Okay,
so
so-
they usually meet back to back.
Okay. And then, I can do Tomahawk too.
all right. Any other takers?
I'll take the Woodruff Lake. Honor the Baranskis used to live on the lake.
All right. So we
Do you
got,
have a
3.
preference on a lake?
What's been spoken for, right?
Woodruff Lake I took.
The top 3 are still available.
What did you do?
Top
Top
4,
three.
top
I
4.
took Tomahawk, Taggart.
I know you
Charlotte,
took Kellogg and
Kellogg
Taggart.
and Taggart, Tomahawk.
what was that?
Charlotte or Duck Lake, I'll take either one.
Charlotte. I'm serious.
All right, I'll take Charlotte.
I'm doing you a favor.
All right, Charlotte, I got
Duck
it.
Lake's pretty fascinating, actually.
Is that it?
No, got 3 more.
What's the other?
I'll
3?
take whatever's
$6,000 a meeting, right? Remember
not
that?
spoken for.
Yeah.
What are left? What's left?
There's
So,
Duck Lake, Gourd Lake, and Highland Lake are still available.
Okay, well, I'll take Highland Lake.
Highland Lake's off of Middle Road. It's across from.
Okay, so we got
Kellogg.
Duck and Gourd.
Yeah. I don't know, if Mary wants to take one, I'll take one.
No, I don't really want to.
I'll take Duck Lake too.
It's a heavy commitment.
Okay, never mind. Like how heavy,
They're-
how heavy of a commitment?
So Their program right now is in place. They've approved a 5-year program. This is the second year that we've collected for this. And they came up with this aeration project that we'd never heard of. Maybe probably less than 10 lakes in Michigan have done it. The goal is to reduce the muck without chemicals.
Okay.
So prediction is first year that it will reduce it 1 to 2 feet. So
The muck.
yeah, so we're kind of waiting to see how that works. And
It's hard to hear down here, I can't hear what you're saying.
and I'm pointing that way. So the people on that lake they meet monthly with their citizens, and they have a pretty good turnout for their people coming to this. And apparently these guys are engineers.
Yep.
They're what?
Because they're engineers. They're doing
I'll take Duck Lake.
fabulous
Okay.
job. So
I'll
it's
do Duck Lake and Woodard Lake.
I'll
interesting.
do board like that.
Where's Gord Lake at?
It's up
Highland
there.
Hills.
It's about that deep,
It's a giant puddle.
It's a swamp.
literally.
I'll do the shallowest lake.
Okay.
It is.
All right,
Duck
so
Lake and Woodard.
here's the thing on these things.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's the 8?
So how when again, I guess I heard you said it, but I want to hear it again. How do we know when the meetings will be?
We'll notify you.
We'll
Okay.
contact you.
All right,
They're very
that's fine.
easy,
Yeah.
very easy.
Gord. Tammy took Gord.
Yeah.
Who took Highland?
Joe. I got the list.
Thank
Well, we
you.
appreciate you guys
That's awesome.
taking
Yeah,
that on.
Really appreciate it.
You have to be able to swim.
Thank goodness, no.
Tammy doesn't have to.
You do have to be able to water ski.
Oh, well, I'm done. No.
Depending on the lake.
Huh? I'm good at jet ski. Yeah, I want the jet ski written in my contract.
Okay, so I guess
I'm a pontoon
we've
boat.
accomplished that then.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, we appreciate it.
I missed one thing on public comment before we adjourn.
Can you do what?
I missed one thing on public comment.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to acknowledge Gary Cornelier, who is a member of Holy Spirit Church. Gary is the driving force behind the Knights for Bikes. Does a great job in helping young people and adults who can't have transportation or need a bike. The Knights get together, he finds bikes, people repair them, and he finds homes for those bikes. So it's a little bit of an unsung hero back there that does a lot of stuff. He was at the event we had, he had bikes available for that. So this is something that's good for our community, and Gary does a great job, and there's very little recognition, so you want to mark that down for Mr. Manick to investigate that.
If we have bikes we'd like to donate, where do we bring them?
Gary will give that, Gary, go ahead and talk about that real quick.
You can drop them off at, I have a house in 700, you can drop them off there or call for pickup.
Okay.
I'm happy to be a Highland Township resident.
Gary, make sure you give him a phone number or something, okay?
All right, on
It's a
that
good thing to
note,
put out. That should get out. It's
meeting adjourned.